I'd like to call this meeting to order for the Blackhawk County Board of Supervisors, March 21st, 2023. Roll call, please, Mr. Vader.
Hall.
Here.
Little.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
Trelka.
Here.
Leyland.
Here. Would everyone please join us for a moment of silence to reflect on our actions today? Thank you. Would you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 1 is the agenda received as proposed or amended.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is received. Public comments is item number 2. Is there anyone in the audience that has anything on public comments that's not on today's agenda? Is there anyone on Zoom? Seeing none, moving on to claims and payments. This is a resolution that the Board of Supervisors approve expenditures and that the county auditor be authorized and directed to issue checks against the various settlement of such claims as allowed.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded.
Good morning, Board. Our total bill payments today will be $411,054.63. Wasn't really anything large or unusual in there. And we're also paying out of that $2,786.77 from the 60/40 fund for routine expenses.
Thank you.
Everything appears to be in order.
If there are no questions, please answer as your name is called.
Hall.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Trelka.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Moving on to item 4, presentation from the Solid Waste Management Commission on the activities update by John Foster.
Thank you, Chairman Lehman, as well as the rest of the supervisors. My name is John Foster. I'm the Solid Waste Resource Recovery Administrator for the Blackhawk County Solid Waste Management Commission. Here to kind of provide you a little update about the commission and some of the actions that we got coming on within the next few years. Some of them are coming up actually a little sooner than expected. One interesting point I wanted to point out is that the Blackhawk County Solid Waste Management Commission is a partnership between Blackhawk County and all the communities within Blackhawk County to address solid waste management needs within Blackhawk County. And funny enough, we're actually going to be approaching our 50th year here next year. So this partnership is well embedded, longer than what the actual standard is for environmental standards, which shows that Blackhawk County has actually took the initiative steps to address environmental issues prior to really kind of those movements going on. I wanted to say thank you very much for providing past bonding support for our projects. We just finished up with our W3 Phase 1 landfill cells. We did that in 2 bondings. We did a 2019 bonding, which expires in 2024, and then we came back and asked for additional bonding for the second phase of that project, which will expire in 2029. We've been in the cell for about a year right now, and we were expected to have about another 2 years within that cell. But just kind of looking at the space-wise as well as the volatility within the industry right now on construction side, we ended up accelerating our Phase 2 project so that we had a little bit of liability in case prices come back kind of crazy. We can reject the bids and or to address any needs that the county may have as a disaster is more where I'm kind of going at a flood or a hurricane. I like to have additional space for that as well. So we've actually moved that project up. We're out for bid right now for that project, and that's going to be something I'm going to be coming back to this board is asking for support for another bond to pay for the Phase 2 project. We're looking at about $4.5 million. And so the way we got this scheduled right now, we've already talked to Michelle, our the county finance director, about this and kind of get the plans laid out for it. We're going to retire the 2019 bonds, and then we'll just go ahead and get the same amount and carry that bond through until 2029. So that way both of those bonds expire at the same time, which will carry us out about another 3 to 4 years with the existing W3 cell for filling. Then we'll start doing our cell W4, which will be almost the exact same process. We're going to do that, which is going to be on the west side of our project. and it's going to be kind of the same phase 1 and phase 2 process. One of the things with our future, so we're looking at that cell right there, will give us about another 15 years of landfill airspace. Then we're actually going to start looking at moving across the road on Hess. So we own property to the east of Hess Road, and so that will eventually be our next landfill site, will be that one right there. We have a cell tower. It's on that property right there. It requires some notice to remove. So we're in the process of providing them notice, so that way we don't have to worry about that in the next 10 to 15 years. The other part is we're working with county secondary roads engineer as well as the county engineer to start putting language in your right-of-way permits. So that way, as anybody puts any kind of utilities in those right-of-ways, that they know that eventually that road will request the supervisors to close that road down, so that we're able to expand the landfill to the east. Our intent is really to give anybody that wants to put utilities in that plenty of notice, so that way they can recover any finances that they want to recover on those before we request them to move them. And then we'll be working with the utilities within the existing right-of-way, so that way we're able to kind of, as those life cycle out, we can find new alternatives and new easements for them to kind of bypass that area. So again, I'm talking 20 years down the road, but 20 years will come in a blink of an eye for the facility itself. Again, anytime you want to come on and take a look at the landfill, again, a landfill is just not a hole in the ground. It is a very modern engineered piece of environmental protection. On that same line, I know that Supervisor Swartz had asked me about greenhouse gas and gas collection at the landfill. I kind of dodged the question at the time because we were still kind of in the negotiation stage with the developer. We ended up going out. We selected a developer to install a landfill gas collection system and pull the gas off and clean it up, and we're going to actually be putting that on a pipeline for transportation fuel. Very exciting. This project was a little bit harder for me to market because there is no existing system in place, so we're working with a lot of models to kind of guess how much gas is in there. We put some test wells in, kind of done a little bit more refinement, and we're expecting about 1,000 SCFM on that project. We're looking at, so the biggest thing is we know that in 10 years we're going to have a compliant system in place to destroy methane gas per our regulations. So no matter what's going to happen, we're going to have to put in a gas control and collection system, and at that point we'd be destroying methane gas. Kind of a background, as materials being in the landfill, as it breaks down in anaerobic situation, it creates methane gas. Methane gas is a greenhouse gas potential of 21, so it's very significant when you're talking about climate action. And again, we're looking at our members as well as they're adopting climate action plans. We're trying to figure out how can we further increase their action plans as well. Nice thing about this developer that we have coming in, they're going to install that gas collection system for us, roughly about a $2.5 million project as it sits now. And then we'll be able to meet future compliance, and we don't have to pay a penny for that system. So that's a huge savings right off the bat for the commission as well as for our members. Now, the added benefit is if we just burnt it, and again, as a compliance system, we'd have to collect that methane gas, we'd have to destroy it, and so at that point, we'd have a flare that's beginning to run 24/7. Unfortunately, when you just flare it, yes, you're going from a greenhouse gas potential of 21 down to a greenhouse gas potential of 1. We still have climate action that's still going on. By taking that gas and running it through a gas cleaning plant, we're actually cleaning up, and it's no different than the natural gas that you put in your house. At that point, we're going to put on the pipeline. So now we're offsetting natural gas that's going onto the grid. The benefit about this project is it's not only hitting the natural gas, but we're also offsetting transportation fuels. So now we're getting into the renewable fuel standard, and we're actually hitting that renewable fuel standard and the advanced biofuels. So there's financial incentives from the government to be able to take these projects on, and it just makes good sense when you start kind of reutilizing that resource. And so to kind of make that a little bit more equivalent to every day, we're looking at, per year, the amount of gas that we're collecting, it's the equivalent of removing 20,000 tons of waste from the landfill. It's also the removal of 15 million gallons of gasoline. So I mean, we're not talking a little bit impact, we're talking about a rather large impact. Or it's also the amount of 165,000 trees being planted within Blackhawk County. So right now we're working on a partnership with the University of Northern Iowa to actually do a full-blown inventory of our facilities, so that we can have a third party kind of tell us this is where we're at, and then we can make those adjustments, and we'll have more firm numbers once we get the plant, once the developer gets the plant up and going. So this will be a huge impact within Blackhawk County. Kind of on that same note about environmental protection, May 6th will be our household hazardous waste and electronic waste collection event. One of the things that residents will have their household hazardous waste for disposal. We provide a semi-annual event. The first one's going to be May 6th. The next one's going to be September 16th. The May 6th one will be in Waterloo. That's for people to get rid of their stains that they may have, any kind of pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, as well as other electronics. And again, always plug the electronics. They can get taken care of year-round at the Cedar Falls Transfer Station, and we're trying to work on a couple other partnerships so that we get a more accessibility year-round for electronics recycling, so that way they don't have to hoard for this. I know the City of Waterloo, we've been working with them. They've added that to their citywide cleanups now as well, so it's another opportunity to get rid of electronics. So I think eventually we'll end up pairing off electronics and just kind of stay more with the household hazardous waste. We ended up switching to registration for the household hazardous waste event. We were kind of nervous when we first started doing it. Numbers decreased just a little bit on it, but the benefit of that is instead of having people sitting in their cars idling for 2 hours for the event, people were getting in and out of the event within 10 to 15 minutes. So we had some challenges over the registration. Numbers dropped a little bit, but now we're getting kind of right back up to where we are. The other side is trying to figure out how much of it is post-COVID numbers versus pre-COVID numbers too. So we've had some issues there that we're kind of to address. Next one is we're going through, the commission right now is also going through a strategic planning session. We're really kind of questioning as a commission, what do we want to do? How do we want to approach? A lot of the approaches that we've done is kind of basically since the 1990s still, and especially some of our solid waste system within Blackhawk County. So really we're kind of questioning right now, what are some of the operations that we want to have done at the facility, and is the private contractor still something viable to take care of that, or is it something we want to kind of evaluate and look at changing that contract out a little bit more? How do we continue assisting our member communities into increasing diversion of just curbside recycling as well as other harder to reach items? And I know food waste is a huge issue that have caused, we're kind of trying to figure out how to address that within the area. Right now we're on a pause. The state of Iowa is going through their compost rule. One of the big barriers is the composting rules through the DNR. It's underneath review right now to kind of update those and modernize them. I think once those rules come back out, we'll have a little better solution on how to manage organics through composting at least. But again, source reduction is huge. And again, where we get to that is we have a partnership right now with the Blackhawk County Health Department, working with them on some nutrition, food waste, local food options as well. So I want to kind of expand that. The commission wants to expand that a little bit more to kind of help with the climate action as well as for the organic food waste. And that is everything that I have, at least on my list.
I had a couple of questions, I guess.
Yep.
The bond issue that you said you're going to be coming forward with this request to the board, is that to be in fiscal year 23, or are you looking at 24, or what's the timeline for
That'll
that?
be coming up this probably within the next couple months. So we'll have the bids are out right now. I want to come back with the bids, make sure the bids were acceptable. The project right now, I think the engineer estimate was $4.6 million. And so hopefully the market's been kind of weird when we start talking about liner. So it's 21 acres is what we're doing. It's going to be 21 acres of plastic liner. And so that's the huge chunk of that. And so I want to kind of get a figure where that price is at and get that locked in. So hopefully when we come back, it'll be within, once I get that done, know what the price is, we'll come back and ask for about that, whatever that bid is, so we can cover the project.
And then as far as future projects, you mentioned the gas control system. That would be additionally, you'd come to us at a later time.
That's the beauty of this agreement. So we ended up selecting a developer that came in. They're fully financing that gas collection system, so the commission doesn't have to pay anything else. They're financing their own gas processing facility. That will be theirs. So everything with the gas collection system, including the flare, is property of the commission, and we're leasing it back. They're going to install it. We're leasing it back to the contractor for them to maintain and operate. And again, they want to make sure that they're operating it at peak efficiencies, so that they're not letting in other contaminants into the gas they have to clean. Then they're going to put in their own gas plant across. Fortunately enough, the property that we purchased across the road to stockpile soil at and just use for auxiliary services has a pipeline right on it. And so the interconnect is going to be really easy for them to take care of on that location. So it's almost an ideal location for this kind of a project. Nice thing about this is they're investing, the plant itself is probably going to be about $20 million. So they're investing about $20 million within the community. And we're talking probably about 20 good jobs that will come to do the construction. And then on an ongoing basis, probably about 4 or 5 jobs to monitor the plant and make sure that the operation's going. So that does have an economic development within the community itself. And all that's on, and the other side is that the commission gets royalties off of all the off the gross revenues that come from the gas that were being sold. So it's a win-win for both parties.
Yeah, no, I was really excited to learn that you're moving forward on that. I recall of all the governmental operations within the county, the methane coming off the landfill, I think, was the largest CO2 contributor. And so it was the area that we can make a big impact. So I'm really appreciative that you moved forward there.
And hopefully we'll find some more opportunities within the facility, just won't be as big as that one.
What's the timeline for the project? Like, how long will it take to complete the cell 4 as far as actually having that done?
Cell 3 will be completed, so actually substantial completion date will be, I think it's the end of October of this year. And then we'll have unfortunately, because of the tire chips are our major limiting factor right now. We can't ship enough in time to bring it all in. So the rest of the project will be done in June 30th of 2024. So, but the majority of the expenses will be all taken care of this year.
Great. And you said that should service till 2029,
Correct.
which will go by quickly, but yeah.
Well, exactly. Exactly.
For some of us. Are there any questions or any comments?
Build your compost piles at home, folks.
Yeah.
No, that's going to be next on my list. We got a lot of major construction projects going, and food waste is a big one. We're already talking with the city of Waterloo as well as city of Cedar Falls and try to figure out taking a regional approach. That's really where I want to where the commission needs to step in and start figuring out how can we take more of a regional approach to addressing some of these issues instead of each community kind of trying to take their own little chunk at a time. It's not feasible.
You just started working on that, or have you made some?
We've started some discussions that are going on for those, so hopefully we can get a little farther down the road. Like I said, the siting, the rule change is going to be a huge one right now under Iowa. When you start looking at some of the food, you can do how do they call it? Garden waste is what it's called. So it's like your produce, fruits and vegetables. You can take those; it doesn't matter. But when you start getting into some of the meats and the fats and more of the consumer stuff, the fried food, right there's a limit on that of 2 tons per week at a facility. I think it's 2 tons per week at a facility. And so they're looking at relaxing some of those rules, and the facilities have to be lined, no different than a landfill has to be lined. So there's a lot of upfront costs that are associated with it. Now that we know a lot more information about the decomposition of food waste, and it's not as much of a groundwater hazard, it's more of a surface water issue. We're going to take their DNR's taking a little different approach on how to manage that material. So that's the big hang up right now. And then with the governor's reorganization and the holdup on the rural reviews, that's kind of stopped that process for a little bit. So hopefully in the next year or two, that will be picked back up.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Again, if you ever want to tour the landfill, go ahead and give me a call. Thank you.
I appreciate the update. Thanks, great. Moving on to item 5, receive project updates from department heads and elected officials.
Good morning, Board. Kathy Nicholas, County Engineer.
Good morning.
An update on the gravel road system. It is improving. Our secondary roads employees are out placing spot rock. We are seeing very few frost boils, so we're seeing that as a good sign, and we're seeing very few culvert separations. So I think hopefully the worst is behind us, knock on wood. Other staff is seeding areas that where our contractor had spread revetment. Late last year, we had a small revetment project. Our roadside biologist has been out seeding those areas. And then I also briefly wanted to mention the Washburn Drainage District. I know we have Supervisor Hall as a new supervisor. I will probably be sending you some information by email later in the week. Every spring, it seems that one of you gets a call. Supervisor Little got a call a few weeks ago from a resident out in Washburn about the vegetation in the drainage ditch. So I just wanted to bring you up to date on that, and I will be sending you some emailing you some photos that I took while I was out looking at the drainage ditch several weeks ago. I'll just remind you that you are the trustees of that drainage district, and we therefore responsible for maintaining that ditch. So I'll send you more information on that. Can I answer any questions at this time? Thank you.
No, thank you. Any other department heads? Good morning.
Good morning, Board. Caitlin Emmerich, Interim Health Director. I just have a quick update. National Public Health Week is approaching. It's the first week of April, so April 3rd through the 9th. And there's a couple of things happening that we are doing to kind of celebrate and recognize National Public Health Week. One is a community reception that will be highlighting the importance of the work of our community health workers, among other things. That's on April 5th from 8 to 10 with the program starting at 8:30, and you all are invited to that and should have received an invitation already. And then the second thing is we would like to we'd like to present you with a proclamation to declare that first week of April as National Public Health Week. And so we will be bringing that as well. It's going to go to our Board of Health tomorrow, and then subsequently we'll bring it to you for approval. Any questions for me?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. Anyone else? Are there any department heads or elected officials on Zoom that would like to speak today? Seeing none, we'll move on to item 6, minutes approved for March 14, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. We'll be having a hearing later today on ordinance number 77-277, rezone request by Blackhawk County Solid Waste Management Commission. Item 8 is the consent agenda. The following items are acted upon by a single resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. If there are no items to be removed, please answer as your name is called.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Jelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item number 9, contracts and agreements. Resolution that the agreement between Blackhawk County and First Judicial District Department of Correctional Services for the purpose of providing supervision and alternative inmate housing for prisoners who would otherwise be placed in the Blackhawk County Jail, and to provide intensive pretrial supervision in the amount of $260,000, which is a 0% increase from previous year, between July 1, 2023 through June 30, 2024. Be approved and direct the chair to sign.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. And Mr. Todd's here to speak, to just give us a little update and provide some history, I guess, and some information for us on this contract and how the history's gone. So,
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Ross Todd. I'm with the Department of Correctional Services. This contract with Blackhawk County has been in existence for at least 30 years. There's 2 components to the contract. The first is intensive pretrial supervision, which allows inmates to be released from the Blackhawk County Jail on supervision with our department who would normally not qualify for standard pretrial release and don't have the monetary means to be released on bail. We usually have approximately 35 clients on supervision, intensive pretrial. These clients, if they were in jail, would be taking up a lot of space and a big expense to the county. The contract pays for the salary and benefits for the pretrial officer to supervise these individuals. They're required to report in once a week. Home visits are conducted in the community. They're required to undergo substance abuse testing, mental health programming, or whatever may be appropriate. And these are high-risk individuals. 11 of the 35, I checked yesterday on the caseload, 11 of the 35 are on GPS ankle bracelets and being monitored with that. A lot of them, almost all of them are on for felony offenses. And so they wouldn't normally qualify to be released from jail, but under this program they are. In addition, we've had the contract for alternative jail beds with the Blackhawk County Sheriff's Office and jail for more than 30 years. The Sheriff's Department, the jail does not have a work release program, and so people who were sentenced to short-term jail stays, such as 14 or 30 days or even up to 90 or 180, whatever the case may be, with judicial approval, they can serve that jail sentence at the Waterloo Residential Facility with work release privileges, be released to go to work, and go to treatment such as mental health or substance abuse treatment if such is approved by court order. The residents pay $20.43 per day to reside at the facility. In most instances, that is collected up front, and then that money is reimbursed back to the county to offset the cost of the contract. In essence, if you added up what this would cost to have all these people in jail, it'd be around $1.1 million a year, and we've done it for less than $260,000. Most years it's been around $225, $230. We have a cushion there, not knowing exactly how many bed days are going to be needed for sentencing, and so we would just ask that this contract be continued. Any questions?
No, thank you very much for coming today and kind of like informing us there.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I have one question. Do you see in the future areas where we can expand on the success of this?
Great question. I guess. I mean, it's been very successful, and I would say in recent years there's actually been fewer people sentenced to jail sentences than in past, and I've been with the department 32 years. We used to have more misdemeanor convictions serving jail sentences, and now it seems more often the court is actually issuing fines and that kind of thing. And so there were times in the past where we actually reached the $260,000 limit and asked for additional funding. Of course, some of that was when the old jail was in the courthouse and only, around 90 bed capacity. But certainly we could explore any ideas that anyone might have. Yes.
All right. Thank you.
And how to do that. So it's not something you've really considered as far as a plan to do that? It's
No, because it's been based on the need, and with a much bigger jail than we used to have, the need really hasn't increased necessarily, but it has remained steady, I would say.
Okay. We'll appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good program.
It's been motioned and seconded, so please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Trelka.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Little.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item B, resolution that the new contract between Blackhawk County and Urban Services LLC for Washburn sanitary sewer operator fees with fee increases that include an increase in the base fee from $1,617.20 to $1,900 per month, increases in hourly rates for various other services as outlined in the schedule, and allowing for subsequent annual adjustments based on the Consumer Price Index plus 1% annually, retro to January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2025, with the option to auto-renew annually thereafter, be approved and direct the chair to sign for same.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or, you want to say anything more today too, Ben?
I'm just here for questions if you
Questions?
have any.
I do have one, and I was going to say, I didn't know if it was really going to be for Mike or for you, but I said, we always, I know in our contracts have the 30-day or 90-day clause, something like that.
Yeah, there's a
Depending on
30-day in here.
Oh, it is,
For,
okay.
for
I was,
any issues or cancellation.
okay. I was thinking it was 90 days, but maybe I'm off.
It was worded differently a long time ago. There was, I believe, a 90-day at the end of the year to cancel by March 1st or something. It was really didn't work in today's world. We may have an issue in April that needs to be resolved. So why is there only one portion of the year we can cancel? So if this needs to be reviewed or
Well, I knew Mike had reviewed it, I thought, but
he did.
I wanted to double check on
Yeah,
that.
we-
I think
we've-
that 30 days maybe is only for certain types of issues, and I walked off without bringing the contract.
Yeah, I was going to
No.
say, I don't have it.
I've got it
Don't
in
know
front
what
of
I
me
was
here.
thinking. Article 5.1, I think, is the one Linda's referring to,
Okay.
but the 30 days, right around there too.
termination. Would you like me to read?
I don't, yeah,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say.
Okay,
if-
yeah, Article 5.1, this agreement shall remain in full force and effect for 2 years of the effective date. This agreement shall be automatically renewed for a successive 1-year term unless written notice of cancellation is given by either party to the other no less than 90 days prior to the date of expiration. I was under the understanding it was 30, but it is
Oh,
90.
well, that's okay, and it's on both parties, so
Yep.
I was just,
Yep.
had a question.
Protects
on
us
that, so I was
both.
just- And I know, and appreciate your patience, like I say, working through all this. I know, like I said, we made it retro to January 1, but there are a lot of things.
Yeah, I understand. I work for a city government, so I know things, they take a while for a reason because we don't want to enter anything that isn't best for both parties. So the responsibilities have not changed, the scope has not changed, really the only thing financially is changing, and also some more insurance protection for myself and you, so.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments?
Seems like a good deal.
Well, with no further questions, please answer as your name is called.
Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Item 10, other business. Resolution to submit to Baker Tilly for ARPA eligibility evaluation, the Health Department's proposed van for oral health program with a projected cost of $48,346.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. And Caitlin, I was going to say, you or Mr. Trinan want to comment
Yeah.
on this, please?
Really, I'm just here to answer questions. I believe we've talked about this in the budget presentation. This was the vehicle that was brought up in terms of we rejected due to non-compliance with the bid. And so we went ahead and filled out the questionnaire to reflect the more accurate price of what we think it's going to be. And so that is the rationale for this cost, or this vehicle.
Have there been any conversations or discussion on if the cost or if the price comes in, I guess, when it arrives, of being higher than like so many of our vehicles have done?
The dealer still has the vehicle and is very anxiously awaiting for this to be approved so he can provide it to us. In terms of if we were to go with another dealer and another vehicle, we haven't had those conversations.
Okay, well, sounds like good, good news then. Okay, thank you. A question for Mike, I guess, as far as the eligibility evaluation on this. This isn't a lost revenue project. This would be,
This is for it to be an expense category project. Last year, a number of all of the health vehicles, I don't know if at the time, if there had been questionnaires written out for any of those, and they were all placed under lost revenue and seen as just a general replacement vehicle. But this is actually a new thing for the health department, and there's specific pandemic-related justifications for it, which are contained in the questionnaire. That's why it was thought that it would be better to take a second bite at eligibility here.
okay.
And to Mike's point, we do have other vehicles that we requested with ARPA funds, and we're kind of working through those conversations currently. But yeah, this one is separate from the other ones that we had previously requested and received approval for.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, concerns? Please answer as your name is called.
Hall,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Leyland.
Item B, resolution to submit to Baker Tilly for ARPA eligibility evaluation, the Health Department's proposed mobile health clinic with a projected cost of $600,000.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion or questions?
Linda, what we're voting today is just simply sending it to Baker Tilly.
Yes,
There'll
Yes,
be plenty of time for questions and later.
there will be. I would say, hopefully, like I said, once they make that qualification of where this falls, I guess, and in what category, and yeah, then it does before it goes forward, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Well, let's say, just for the sake of example, we relocated the public health clinic, would this unit still be utilized?
You're keying right into the kind of the rationale of why we went ahead and submitted the questionnaire. So the mobile clinic was previously discussed. I think when Nafisa and the board originally had conversations around the ARPA funds. And if the clinic were to move to a location that's more easily accessible by more of the community members that we serve, then the mobile clinic rationale would be less critical, I guess. If we're to stay where we are, where we're kind of on the edge of the metro area, it would be more important for us to proceed with the mobile clinic.
And there's
So we're-
probably too early to tell on how much use this would get, but I'm assuming, and I know when we had those early discussions, we talked about the rural communities and that ability to be able to go to the communities and not have everyone have to come here.
Right. And mobile clinics are is something that it's not just us that we're exploring with the use of ARPA funds. I have a colleague in Lynn County, and they requested one as well, to be able, for that exact same reason, to be able to get to people that are not able to, have transportation barriers or childcare barriers or can't get off work or whatever it is, to be more accessible. I think one thing that really sticks with me, I wasn't here at the time, but our disease surveillance manager kind of has shared that when the Mobile Vax partnership with Unity Point was established and the Mobile Vax was going out into the community for COVID vaccines, that we got feedback, that was the first time that person felt like vaccines were accessible to them. And so that's something that really sticks in the back of my mind of, even if something is perceived to be accessible for someone, unless you're there in their community, they may not perceive it to be accessible. So.
Have you had time to even consider, I guess, as far as are you thinking about going to different communities, different days, that type of thing, or is it just?
We haven't really talked
done
about
any of
that level of kind of operational, logistical consideration yet, but Tanya Wilder, our clinic manager, she helped to prepare this questionnaire, and so she's very much on board with making that happen should it be approved.
Great, super, thank you.
Caitlin, I got one question. The board's been asking us off and on the ARPA monies. Do you foresee in the future, if this was approved, any additional tax asking dollars as far as staffing or whatever?
So staffing would be worked in with our current kind of staffing model, I guess. Maintenance would be something that we would need to consider ongoing because we don't have a unit like this right now. I do not know what the maintenance on it would be long term, but that would be the thing that I could think of that would be additional tax asking.
Thank you.
And I will say that along with that, the quotes that we originally received to kind of get a ballpark of what we even needed to ask for, there are, options for maintenance contracts and things like that. So there's definitely a whole conversation to get into, once this gets a little farther along in the approval process.
Thank you. No further questions? Please answer as your name is called.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Jelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item C, resolution to amend the minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting on July 31st, 2018 to correct the legal description of right-of-way property for which transfer to Pointer Township was approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Kathy?
Yeah, prior to 2018, as the engineer's office was requested to vacate this property and give it to Pointer Cemetery, the township trustees there, our surveyor put together the legal description. In the course of transposing those legal descriptions, apparently an S was left off in the version that was approved by this board in 2018. So this corrects those minutes.
Thank you. No questions? Please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Jelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item D, resolution to authorize the board chair to sign a quitclaim deed transferring to Pointer Township trustees title to the portion of right-of-way adjacent to Pointer Cemetery and vacated by the county by resolution of the Board of Supervisors on July 31st, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is the final piece of.
Right, this was never given to the Pointer Township, conveyed to them, so this takes care of that action to finally give it to them after we vacated it.
Gail Mueller will be very happy.
Yes.
This is a resolution. Please answer as your name is called.
Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item E, resolution that the funding request between the Blackhawk County Metropolitan Area Transportation Policy Board and Blackhawk County Washburn Road resurfacing project for fiscal year 27 to be approved, and direct the chair to sign for same as recommended by Catherine Nicholas, County Engineer.
So moved.
Second.
And every year, as we are preparing our 5-year plan, we are able to submit a project to the Metropolitan Planning Organization to receive federal funds. This year, we did feel like we had a good candidate in Washburn Road. We do not have a dollar amount here, although we are requesting about $1.9 million from MPO. That remains to be seen what we receive from them, so we will be coming back to you if we are out. Luckily, if we receive some funding, we'll come back with the dollar amount then.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Please answer as your name is called.
Hall,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz,
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item F, motion to direct the finance director to advertise for a public hearing on the proposed Blackhawk County budget for the fiscal year 23-24 to be held on April 4th, 2023 at 9:05 at the Blackhawk County Courthouse, Waterloo, Iowa.
So moved.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item G, the time is 9:40, and it is a hearing on proposed ordinance number 77-277, Blackhawk County Solid Waste Management Commission rezone. Motion to receive and place on file proof of publication.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to waive the first reading as noticed by published on
So moved.
March 13th, 2023 in the Waterloo Courier.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 3, motion to close the hearing as oral and written comments were received and placed on file.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Veeder, were there any written comments?
No, ma'am.
All right, Seth?
Okay, yeah, this is a request west of 6607 Hammond Road, a request to rezone 3.80 acres from A Agricultural District to CM Commercial Manufacturing District. Request by Blackhawk County Waste Management to rezone 3 acres from A Agricultural District to CM Commercial Manufacturing District in order to install a new gas collection and control system. It was moved by Bozier and seconded by Shares to approve the request. Blackhawk County Waste Management to rezone 3 acres from A Agricultural District to CM Commercial Manufacturing District in order to install a new gas collection and control system at west of 6607 Hammond Road. The request was unanimously approved. The one parcel containing the 3 acres for the proposed rezone area has been zoned agricultural district since the adoption of the zoning ordinance on November 18, 1982. Surrounding area consisted of City Waterloo and the Blackhawk County Solid Waste facility with Summerall Homes. To the north and south is designated as agricultural. Land to the west is designated as parks and open space, and land to the east is designated as agricultural and residential. Rezone area in the future land use map is designated as agricultural. Surrounding area is designated as agricultural to the south and west. Land to the east is designated as a agricultural district and AL agricultural limited district. None of the rezone areas is located in a special flood hazard area. The site has a land valuation score of 94 and least a score of 200, indicating moderate agricultural value. Applicant wishes to rezone the 3.0 acres from A to CM in order to construct a gas collection control system. The system will collect landfill gas and clean it to meet the natural gas utilities pipeline specifications and then market the biogas. Pine Creek RNG was selected as a potential developer for the system. The parcel is large enough to accommodate one developable lot that will meet the lot and size requirements for the CM Commercial Manufacturing District. Land is zoned agricultural district, but has never been used as such since the majority of the topsoil has been stripped and stockpiles constructed. The property does have value as a landfill due to the location of gas pipelines across the property as well. The project will reduce the landfill's greenhouse gas impact on the community. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously approved the request at the regular meeting on February 21st, 2023. The proposed rezone area is not located within the Blackhawk County Airport land use and height overlay review area, and the Technical Review Committee did not have any concerns in regards to this request.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room that wants to speak to this at all? Is he good now? Oh, yes. All right. Please step to the podium and give your name and address and your concerns.
My name is Chris Griman. My address is 11219 Holmes Road, Hudson, Iowa. I'm a farmer, strictly farmer, no expert on landfills or anything in that nature. I use landfills. I'm not against them. I have my opinions as far as greenhouse gases, but I'll keep them to myself. I was at the meeting, the planning and zoning meeting on this thing, and I had more questions than answers. I said then that I'm not for or against this, and I still kind of stand that way, but I have some questions, but I have some concerns also. And some of those concerns that I expressed that night, I was able to get on the internet, talk to various people and stuff. So some of those concerns have been eliminated, so I'm not concerned about that. I have a few things I want to bring forward, though. That night at the meeting, we were talking about this. I don't know if you can see in the map up there, but I'm the trust protector of the Tanner River Trust, and that's why I'm here today. And that's a property right adjacent to the north of the proposed area of it. You want me to point that? Can you understand that?
Where that black diagonal line is?
Where that black diagonal line is at.
Please.
Right here. This here is the property line. We have all that property up here, and this is the proposed site. So this is Blackhawk County. That is the city of Blackhawk, or city of Waterloo, if I understand correct.
Okay.
One of my concerns is we farm that, and one of the things that was brought up at the planning and zoning meeting, and John, I believe you expressed, and it'll probably be on public record, that flame that's going to be going would be part-time, not always on and off. And just now, and in the minutes here, it says it's going to be continuous. And this is one of my concerns. And we farm that. There's a lot of fuel out there. Now you look at San Bernardino and Mid-American Energy, they have a continuous flame, but there isn't that much fuel around there. It's always short grass. It's usually green. We've got where the landfill had bought from the Hoskins property. That's all hills. They call it agricultural land. Well, that isn't agricultural land anymore. You can't get Lael said he was supposed to be able to get in there and make hay and stuff off it. He can't get in there and make hay off it. It is what it is. It's kind of wasteland right now. Doesn't concern me one way or the other. But about a year ago now, we had a wind out of the southeast that was blowing about 50 and 60 mile an hour. And the landfill, and I wouldn't want the guy's job, I wouldn't want John's job. The landfill, that paper and stuff was blowing around. They've got a big high fence. They've got a machine that comes in and tries to bring that trash down. Correct, John? And correct me if I'm misspeaking here. Anyway, the guy was out there trying to get the paper and stuff off that fence, and as soon as he take it off the fence, a lot of it would blow up. Well, our property had a lot of paper and stuff that caught up against the fence and into our property, and it wasn't planted yet, so me and my grandsons went out and we picked it up. I tried getting a hold of John, but he wouldn't answer my call. Anyway, what concerns me, if you ever seen piece of paper come along or piece of plate, there's a lot of trash that's out there. If that ever comes up against a continuous flame of fire out there and hits that, and if it blow over into our property or anywhere around there's a lot of fuel out there. There in the fall of the year, we got corn stock, there's corn out there. That's a lot of fuel. You ever seen a combine fire? Take out a field of corn in a high wind, it don't take long. It destroys everything in their path. We've got the school over there, that trucking school, and then we got I think it's security for Hawkeye Community College, and there's a resident to the south. One of my other concerns is we're concentrating all this methane gas and other gases off of 320 acres at the present time. If you go expand on the other side, of the road to the east. That's all going to come through. So you're concentrating all this greenhouse gas and all this methane gas and everything that's involved in it into a concentrated area of 3 acres. I did some checking on it. I couldn't find any information. It was at Pine Creek. Is that the name of it? The company that's doing that? I hunted on the internet for Pine Creek. I couldn't find anything. Doesn't mean that it isn't out there. I'm not very bright sometimes, but I couldn't find anything on them. I don't know what the ratings are. I don't know who the owners are or any of that nature, which may be immaterial. I don't know. I could find it on other companies. I've learned all about this, how this process is taking place. Looks like everything appears to be safe or anything. However, nothing is totally safe. You concentrate all that fuel and stuff in there, a lightning strike or something like that hitting that area. I talked to the people. I talked to Scott Grisma, who is a police officer and also on the fire department at Hudson, which I was surprised to learn that Hudson's in charge of this. He didn't seem too concerned. He said, we've had training on that. But if there was a problem there, if there was an explosion, if there ever was, the odds of it are probably slim as all get out. But if there was, we've got a bridge that's out to the north. And anybody that's in that truck driving school, anybody that's in the authority there, and they have to get out to Hudson or out to Orange Road to the north, cannot get out. That is one of my major concerns. That bridge has been out for years, and if something would ever happen, hopefully not, probably never will, but any other type of emergency like that, where they get out at? If you're to the south, because we got a resident up there on the north end of our property. He can't get out to the north. He has to come through the south. And if the explosion or anything of that nature or fire is on that side to the south of him, he can't get out of there. And if we got a wind or something going that way, I don't know I have no idea what would happen if we had an explosion there. I'm not an expert. Like I say, I'm not against it or for it, either way. I'm neutral. But I have concerns that way. And I appreciate you allowing me to express my concerns. But you're dealing with city government and you're dealing with county government. Just on that fine line, to the north and to the south. Thank you.
I appreciate you here today to express your interests or concerns.
Pardon me?
I said, appreciate you coming today to express your concerns and follow up with them as well, and that you were there at the meeting. John, I don't know, you've had conversations regarding this, I don't know, with this gentleman or with others about those particular issues?
I can address some if you want.
Yeah.
And John, I think you said with the flare that it would have to be on all the time if we weren't actually capturing and processing the gas. But since I'll let you.
Yeah.
You hit it right on top of the head. So that's what I wanted to try to explain and I tried to explain it as well, as in the future, we're going to be required to have a gas collection system within 10 years. And part of that is we're going to require a flare. So at that point, we'll be destroying. With this project, the flare will not be going. It should not be going because there's value to that gas, because now there's a dollar amount. If we're burning it, that means that developer is losing money, because it's no different than a natural gas, just burning natural gas for fun. So they'll burn it every once in a while just to give regeneration of their filter systems, but that flare should not be an issue. If we don't put the plant in, our flare will be going all the time. And that was the other question I pulled. We have an industry blog that goes across the entire country. I could not find one instance of any kind of fire started because of litter going across the flare. You got to realize this flare is running at temperatures in excess of 1,000 degrees. If anything that's flying is going to be paper, it's going to be some kind of plastic. One, you got the heat shield that's coming off of it anyway. It's pushing its own little environment to push anything that gets into that away from the flare. And if anything does get into it, it's just going to be gone like that. So the biggest issue we run into with, especially open flares, are bird strikes. We tend to have a lot of birds that will fly through those, and we'll get a lot of damage that way. That's the only issue we've ever kind of ran into with open flares. As for the flammability and all that stuff, I mentioned that night, there's plenty of industry standards. I'll kind of go into this as well, is that the gas manufacturer that's producing the gas cleanup facility that produces all the pressure swing and the filters and all the piping, it's an engineer. I mean, again, we're going through a lot of engineering to get this facility up and running. This facility right here is not only landfill gas, but they're also in the natural gas industry. They've had over 20 years experience. they're running on 60 landfill gas projects in excess of natural gas projects across the world and without incident. So, and again, when we talk about regulations, we've had more, we have NFPA that's going to be involved with this. We have pipeline regulations that are involved with. We have electrical safety, and I can provide all the standards if you really want to understand all the standards that are going behind all that. And then I can leave it if you want to talk about any of your research that you found, so it's not necessarily coming from me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not an expert on landfills in any way. I mean, usually, like, when they occur, it's generally because it's a non-well-managed site. I mean, and you know, landfill fires have occurred at some plants. And then I also did some more research. I never found anything negative in regards to these gas collection systems. Or any other fires of any kind. I mean, I don't know. I just did a regular internet search. I'm not an expert in any way of this, but I guess I didn't encounter anything negative with the project. And the thing is, when you have the gas collection system, you've got way more regulations than what you just have for a landfill. And this gas is just going to be, it's going to be released. And the county may just have to just burn it off because it's better for the environment to burn it off than to just release the straight methane. So then if nothing's done, then you probably may have a continuous, burn. But in this particular case, it'll just burn partially. But, I don't know. I just wanted to throw that in. Thank you.
And John, I believe you most recently you came from Dubuque, right? And are they capturing or are they burning? I know they're doing something with the methane gas.
That's another CNG project, the exact same
Okay.
that we'll be running. And then Cedar Rapids, Lynn County, which is on County Home Road, they flare as well as they utilize their gas for electrical generation. And that flare has been going, I think I would probably put that in about 2002. And we haven't had any issues with any fires specifically at that facility as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Greiman, would you like a copy of the regulations that he was talking about as far as all the requirements? Is that, okay?
I just still have a question or two, John.
Sure, yeah, please go to the podium, yes.
I agree with John. I have not found anything as far as any accidents or anything of that nature on all. It's going on. And Northwest Iowa's got them, different places, different companies, and the company that's working here apparently. And throughout the United States, haven't found any examples of any casualties or anything like that. But it still is. We got to make sure that things can be safe there. If it's something would. You ask the residents of East Palestine, Ohio, who had a train probably go through there for 50, 60 years carrying chemical waste, and nothing ever happened. But all it takes is once. And you got a highly volatile product coming through those lines there, and all it takes is a lightning strike or some crazy thing. I don't know, And the odds of it happening are very, very slim. But if that ever should happen, we got people around there. We got to have access to get in there, and you have to be able to get people out, especially to the north. And that bridge is a problem to me. And and the other question for John, I believe we raised that, and I can't remember what the answer was. We can only get in there to our property from the south. When that pipe goes through, is that piping and everything still underneath there to get to this 3-acre piece? Or do you have to tear up the road in order to get there? Is that road going to be shut down because I have to get in there? Hawkeye has to be able to get in there at their access? Is that going to be a problem? What's that?
My understanding is it's going to be bored.
It's going to be bored. Well, I figured that'd probably be right. So if that's the case, I have no concerns about it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, there was a motion to close the hearing, so all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, motion carries. The resolution, this is a resolution to suspend the rules requiring the Board of Supervisors to consider and vote on the proposed ordinance at 2 prior meetings.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please answer as your name is called.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Item 5, ordinance adoption. That ordinance amending ordinance number 36 as amended, the Blackhawk County, Iowa Agricultural Preservation Zoning Ordinance adopted February 2nd, 1999 by adding subsection number 277 to section 6B, rezoning certain property as described on the above request submitted by Blackhawk County Solid Waste Management Commission, and to consider the same for adoption, and if adopted, would be known as ordinance number 77-277.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. If there are no further comments or questions, please answer as your name is called.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Trelka?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Little?
Yes.
Leyland?
Yes. Thank you. Item H, discussion on elected officials' code of conduct.
I said at the last meeting I'd bring that forward, and I just wanted to, this cuts both ways. It's an issue I'm not trying to politicize. I just want, if the board has an appetite to do anything, I often say, and we all make mistakes. A mistake is a bridge between inexperience and wisdom. And we've all been gaining a lot of wisdom as we move forward. And I've said it before too, I really like where this board is and what we have been accomplishing. But, and I can go either way on this. I just want to see how the rest of the board felt. So I have nothing prepared other than my comments.
Anyone want to comment, or?
Not really. I mean, I feel like this has been taken care of, so it's, no.
As far as I think, an enforceability was probably a question or an issue before as to how we'd go about it or how it would be done. So I think, to me, it was really just us trying to resolve it, I guess, internally or with each other, or trying to find the best way to address it at the time, and maybe that would depend on the certain circumstances.
At least all of us have a dialogue.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And I'm not opposed at some point to having a conversation about code of conduct. I want to ensure, one, that it doesn't become, I don't want any part of the censure stuff, primarily that. Also, I want to make sure that we have that conversation not in response to incidents. Public policy shouldn't be made with, the best forms of public policy aren't made with any sort of political implications. The censure stuff gets really close into that. Even so the teeth of this get tricky. But if we're going to have this conversation, I think it makes sense for us to take a step back, make sure that we're doing it with all level heads and taking a holistic approach to a policy and a code, not in response to a particular incident or anything along those lines.
Maybe this is a discussion we can have during our strategic planning.
Perfect. Yep.
Hopefully, we never need to discuss it again because we don't have incidents of conduct question, but we'll see too. All right, thank you. No more discussion on that. We'll enter to our closed session. This is a resolution to proceed into closed session to discuss strategy with counsel in matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent, where its disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the governmental body in that litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please answer as your name is called.
Trelka?
Yes.
Hall?
Yes.
Little?
Yes.
Schwartz?
Yes.
Leyland?
Yes. I'm going to take a quick recess here. Yeah. You want to go with your
All
motion?
right. I'll make a motion to adjourn the Board of Supervisors meeting closed session.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 11 is the canvass. Resolution to certify the outcome of the votes cast in the special election held Tuesday, March 7th, 2023, in accordance with Iowa Code 50.24.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Please answer as your name is called. But we can wait till after the canvass, right?
Yeah, we should wait until.
Are you going to ask Karen, or do we need to
I
contact
just
her?
texted Karen.
Oh,
There she is.
thank you.
This is,
She's fast.
okay, there she is. This is pretty perfunctory, so.
Uh-huh.
So just to give you a background, so this is for the Hawkeye Community College race, and because we're the controlling county, so what we did last Tuesday was just to certify Blackhawk County results. Today we're certifying the community college as a whole. So I have the abstracts from all the participating counties, there's 10 total, and so you'll see the totals for the whole race here. And so we're just looking at their abstracts to make sure what I have matches, and then I can send that over to Sanders and Cooney. So I think the 4 or if you have plenty, it will take about 5 minutes.
All right.
So I'll just give you Blackhawk is about right here.
Okay.
Just match up that first 5 and then you can change.
All right.
All right.
And then just a couple sheets to sign, that's it. So.
All right,
these are the
B's,
totals.
Blackhawk, total votes, 2,840.
Let's see. Let me find where the total votes are.
Yes, 145.
I don't think I need the total votes. Just the.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
So
I
you'll
see
have
there.
the yes, no,
Okay.
Yep.
and then you just match it.
All right, so yes is 2454,
Yep.
no 386.
All right.
Floyd, 11,560.
Benton, 1 yes,
Yep.
5 no.
Yep.
Bremer, 557
Yep.
yes, 115 no.
Yep.
Let's see, 164.
Buchanan, 520 yes, 374 no.
Yep.
Butler, 330 yes, 205.
Came on, it's
All right.
374, 339.
Can't believe it.
Sign it.
Well, I have 2 copies, but that's it.
All right. Do I sign any of these ones? Okay. All right.
There's one more, the same sheet to sign it.
In the future, yeah.
Well, yeah, in November, you'll have another one, because a lot of the holidays. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Oh. Ready for the roll call vote, Brant?
Yes.
Please answer as your name is called.
Trelka,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Little,
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Leyland.
Yes. Thank you. Item 12, any reports or information from the board?
I'm going over to dispatch to have my meeting right after this, so all of you are aware.
Super. Thank you.
Linda,
Yes.
I have a question. You're the representative for the board on the emergency management.
Yes?
I see where Dubuque is working on a plan just in case they have a train incident like they had in Ohio. Do you know if Blackhawk County is prepared for something like that?
No,
Have
I
they ever-
don't know. I certainly, yeah, raised the question. We haven't addressed that recently since that occurred, but county levy's kind of been first and foremost. So yeah, maybe we'll get on that. Would you like me to just bring that up or?
Yeah, I think you should probably bring that up because it sounds like they have a plan in place and equipment, tools and everything ready to go, so.
And we
I think it's
could have-
In
important.
general, some tabletop exercises
There's-
would be appreciated. I don't think in the time I've been on the board, there haven't been too many tabletop exercise opportunities.
And I think, I was gonna say, I maybe received something.
There's something
on
that
a
Mindy had,
tabletop
was
right
it
now,
on
so-
cyber or something? I can't
And
remember
I'm
though.
gonna say I can at least forward that to everyone
Yeah.
too, so.
No water and fire rescue is ready, because I asked them that very question just last week.
Well, and that's what I thought too, to answer Tom's question. There could be some things in place that are already there, but we haven't had that discussion, so that'd be good. We did the derecho, I think was the last one, when that went through the area and talked about that, so yeah, very concerning. Any other reports or information for the board? All right, I'll ask for an adjournment vote.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
I
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.